So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience in marketing in a small town. And the principles that I'd like to discuss, they can apply for many different types of service businesses specifically. I'll be talking about window cleaning because that's what I did and some of the techniques that I learned while starting a window cleaning business. But as you'll find, there's not a lot of information on how to market to small towns just because a lot of times it's larger markets that are more productive when it comes to marketing and developing, growing a business. But that doesn't mean that you can't start a business in a small town. You may be in a small town and think, well, I only have 10,000 people in my town, so there's nothing I can do. I'm here to tell you that's just simply not true. That's just not true. And if anything, I think you may even have an edge on the competition for the fact that you're probably going to be the only person in that small town who can specialize in something. It makes it so much easier to find a niche, to find something that nobody else is doing because there's just simply not a lot of people, and then get really good at that one thing. Now, there are some things that I found that just don't work very well in a small town. One of those things is online advertising. Now, a lot of times people will push when it comes to AdWords. Advertising on Facebook is okay sometimes. Even the older generation seems to be getting into Facebook. But what I have found to be very effective may seem counterproductive to many people, and it's this. To some younger viewers, this is a newspaper. It's a newspaper. But I'm here to tell you, I've found that advertising in newspapers has been highly effective, at least in my small town here in Michigan. And I think I understand the reason why. It's because who reads a newspaper today? Young people aren't going to go out and read a newspaper. People in their teens and 20s and 30s are not going to be running out and picking up a newspaper to read. But older people, they still read the newspaper. There's a reason this is still in business. And it's because there is still a market for it with the older generation. Well, my question to you would be, again, speaking specifically about service industries and window cleaning, who is it that has the financial stability to afford paying someone to clean their windows? It's the older generation. And who does not have the physical ability anymore to clean their windows? It's the older generation. So rather than spending money on avenues of marketing that older ones are not going to be viewing, you can cut straight to the source, and where older ones go to get their paper every morning, they open it up, they can see that their windows are dirty, they look in the paper to find someone to clean their windows. Just as an example, now mind you, right now we are in early March, and it's in northern Michigan, and so I'm not really washing very many residential windows, but they put an ad out for spring services, and I put an ad in this, the Daily Mining Gazette, and I'll tell you the numbers. I paid $135 to put an ad in. It'll run 3 times. Big, bold, color ad in the Gazette. And without even having the ability to go out and clean any windows, I've already booked a job that pays for all 3 runnings. That's before spring has even hit entirely. And the other 2 times it's going to run will be during spring when it'll be very active. Found the same thing last year. Very effective. My return on investment for marketing in a newspaper was just fantastic. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work everywhere. I'm not saying that it works for everyone. But for me personally, I found it to be a viable option for marketing. And that's just the first step that I found to starting a business, service industry business in a small town. Step 1, I would say, use the newspaper. With that line of reasoning, with that line of thinking, you're going to find clients that you can appeal to. Now, there are two other main ways that I've found to market in a small town, and I'll include those in two additional videos, and I'll be highlighting word of mouth and how you can do that effectively. In a small town, everyone knows everyone. Word of mouth can be a very, very helpful tool in starting a service business. And the second way is every door direct mail. And I found that effective because in small towns, generally you'll have large areas where you won't have a lot of people who have financial stability. I'll say that as nice as I can. But if you are living in an area where there are more influential parts of town, perhaps by the water, every door direct mail you can market directly to those. And I'll explain that in depth in the coming videos.